You're violating the law. That's what Nellie Pou just told Secretary Noem in Congress, calling out the illegal freeze on FEMA funds and exposing how politics is now standing in the way of public safety.
Thank you. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from New Jersey, Ms. Pou.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, good afternoon. I wish we could have heard from you before ramming through a $70 billion reconciliation bill. But nevertheless, I'm really happy that, and glad that we have a chance to speak with you today. Like many of my colleagues, I am deeply concerned that your department is blatantly ignoring our laws. The law is very, very clear. Members of Congress can show up unannounced to facilities, and ICE must accommodate a tour of their detention centers. The fact that your spokesperson suggested arresting members of Congress who were given a tour of the facility is disturbing and certainly dangerous. We will not accept threats or intimidation by anyone at your department or across the administration for exercising our constitutional oversight authority. Now, let me just refer now to my questions. The Trump administration's funding freeze has created chaos and unpredictability for state and local governments to respond to threats. Reportedly, $100 billion has been canceled or is being unlawfully withheld. You stated today that we are a nation of laws, yet you are actually violating the law. In our recent markup, I offered an amendment to prohibit DHS from delaying or withholding FEMA grant funding. Unfortunately, it was rejected by my GOP colleagues. As my district ramps up for the World Cup, our first responders and municipalities require resources today. By delaying and withholding grants like the Homeland Security Grant Program, you do not just create uncertainty, you undermine the ability of state and local governments to begin security planning for one of the world's largest sporting events. Right now, you are a month behind issuing guidance on this critical funding. Similarly, guidance has not been issued for the nonprofit Grant Security Program, which protects synagogues, churches, and mosques from threats. These delays harm our national security. Madam Secretary, when does your department plan for the Homeland Security Grant Program and the nonprofit Security Grant Program funding to be made available?
Congresswoman, every grant under the Department of Homeland Security is being evaluated to make sure that it's following statute as required by Congress as to how it should be allocated and obligated to local states and communities. So as many of those grants were paused and evaluated, you've seen that they've been continued and put out, but if they were misappropriated into things that were off of the guidance of how the grant should be utilized, then it was changed. But these grants that have been obligated and should go forward have been continued.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me just real quickly, because I know our time is it's nearing to a close. As you know, New Jersey is one of 11 American citizens that will, cities, that will host the FIFA World Cup matches next year. The final match will be held in my district in New Jersey. There will be tens of thousands of spectators at the final match and hundreds of thousands more attending Fan Fest throughout the northern New Jersey area. The World Cup is a time of international competition and celebration, but I worry about the chilling effect of the Trump administration's anti-immigrant rhetoric and America's ability to serve as a welcoming host. To add, the Trump administration is looking to reinstate and expand a travel ban targeting 43 countries for restrictions on entering the United States. Can you please tell us how you will ensure that fans traveling legally to the United States are not targeted for immigration raids?
We are already working as an administration with the teams from all the countries that will come and be competing and their fans as well to process their paperwork and to help facilitate their travel to the United States. And as you've seen, the president has formulated a task force that will focus on holding this unprecedented event and doing it in the safest manner possible while adding hospitality to it and having people enjoy the matches and enjoy interacting with each other. And as you know, over 10 million people will attend the matches over that month-long period of time. Over 22 million people will interact through activities. You'd mentioned FanFest, and that is something that the Department of Homeland Security is tasked with. It's our responsibility to partner with local communities and cities that are the hosts, and we'll be working with your city as well to ensure that we're prepared for it, that we have the needs met, and that we are doing all that we can to secure each location.
Thank you. I look forward to working with you in that regard. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
The chair now recognizes the
Congresswoman Nellie Pou didn't come to play games. She came to call out what she described as a blatant violation of the law. A department that's supposed to serve the people, accused of withholding critical FEMA funds from the very communities it's meant to protect. Her message was simple: you can't claim to be a nation of laws while breaking them in plain sight. Pou's outrage is grounded in something deeper than partisanship. It's about the basic mechanics of governance, how laws passed by Congress are supposed to be executed, not ignored. When FEMA and DHS delay or withhold congressionally authorized grants, they're not just creating bureaucratic headaches, they're directly endangering public safety. These funds are meant to help states prepare for emergencies, protect synagogues, churches, and mosques from threats, and equip first responders to deal with crises before they become catastrophes. And yet, as Pou points out, billions are being withheld or delayed under the justification of evaluation or review. But that's not what the law allows. Congress appropriates money for a reason, and when the executive branch sits on those funds, it's more than mismanagement. It's an act of defiance against the very system that keeps the government accountable. Pou zeroed in on what this means for her own state of New Jersey. Her district will host the final of the FIFA World Cup, an event expected to bring hundreds of thousands of visitors, millions of interactions, and unprecedented security demands. Every day of delay in federal funding undermines preparation for one of the largest global sporting events in modern history. Her point was clear. By withholding FEMA funds, the administration isn't just breaking rules, it's jeopardizing security and exposing Americans to unnecessary risk. And she didn't stop there. Pou linked the funding issue to a broader pattern, one defined by what she called the anti-immigrant rhetoric of the Trump administration and the chilling effect it could have on the World Cup itself. Because how can a country claim to host the world while simultaneously expanding travel bans and fueling fear among immigrant communities? Pou's concern wasn't abstract, it was human. It was about how real people experience government decisions. Families worried about raids, communities stripped of resources, and cities forced to navigate crises without federal support. Her line, "You are actually violating the law," landed like a thunderclap. It wasn't just accusation, it was indictment. A reminder that no one in power, no matter their title or political alignment, gets to pick and choose which laws to follow. And the Secretary's response? It was a bureaucratic deflection. Phrases like evaluating grants and following statute that sound responsible on paper but fail to address the urgency of lives, events, and safety on the ground. Pou wasn't buying it. Neither should the public. This exchange underscores something critical about American democracy. Congress doesn't just write the laws, it has the constitutional authority to oversee how those laws are carried out. When that power is undermined, democracy itself is weakened. The principle at stake here isn't just about FEMA funding, it's about accountability, transparency, and respect for the rule of law. At its heart, Pou's questioning is a lesson in governance. It's about how easily bureaucratic inertia or political obstruction can turn into constitutional crisis. It's about what happens when the system designed to serve the people becomes one that withholds, delays, and deflects. Because when billions in emergency funds are locked behind political games, it's not politicians who suffer, it's the people. It's the first responders, the local officials, the communities preparing for floods, fires, or even international events like the World Cup. It's the families whose security depends on decisions made far from their neighborhoods but close to the levers of power. Nellie Pou's voice in that hearing was more than oversight. It was a warning that when government starts playing politics with public safety, it's not just a policy failure, it's a moral one. So here's the bigger takeaway. When elected officials withhold what the law requires them to provide, they're not saving money, they're breaking faith with the very idea of public service. And when members of Congress like Pou stand up to that, they're doing exactly what democracy demands, holding power to account. What do you think? Should government officials be allowed to delay legally mandated funds under the guise of evaluation? Or is this a dangerous abuse of power that undermines public safety and the Constitution itself? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you value accountability and truth over spin, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because this kind of oversight is what keeps democracy alive.